A black woman was labeled a threat in a bustling downtown restaurant, her calm presence suddenly under scrutiny. Every head in the room turned as a white off-duty officer stepped into her path, scanning her from head to toe. But what he didn't know, and what no one in the room realized, was that she wasn't there for dinner. She had a mission. Phones were quietly raised, whispers ran through the diners, and tension settled like a thick fog over the room. Before we dive deeper into this shocking moment, tell us in the comments your city or country, and don't forget to subscribe. This story is about courage, justice, and quiet power. Tasha Monroe walked into the restaurant with a quiet confidence that made her stand out. Even in a room full of people, her tailored blazer and crisp blouse reflected professionalism. But it was the calm in her eyes and the steady rhythm of her steps that commanded attention. Every movement was deliberate, controlled, and purposeful, an unspoken signal that she was not someone to be underestimated. While diners thought she was just another guest, Tasha's focus was on a far more serious matter. She was here for a mission that demanded precision and courage. Her reputation preceded her in certain circles, one of the youngest and most skilled federal agents in her division, known for her ability to remain composed under pressure. Today, the world was about to learn just how unstoppable that composure could be. The off-duty officer, dining a few tables away, noticed Tasha as soon as she entered. His posture stiffened, eyes narrowing, assumptions clouding his judgment. Without a word, he rose and stepped in front of her, blocking her path. "Step outside, ma'am," he said, his voice carrying across the room, sharp and accusatory. Tasha paused but didn't flinch. She calmly replied that she had business inside, but the officer's suspicion only grew, fueled by bias rather than fact. Diners whispered to one another, some frozen in place, others discreetly pulling out phones to record the unfolding scene. The tension thickened with every passing second. What should have been a simple entrance into a restaurant had become a charged standoff. Everyone watching could sense that this was no ordinary confrontation and that the real story was only beginning. Tasha Monroe's journey to this moment wasn't by chance. Growing up in Atlanta, she had witnessed her father endure racial profiling more times than she could count. Those experiences shaped her perspective and ignited a fire for justice that would guide her throughout her life. Determined not to be a bystander, Tasha worked tirelessly, earning recognition as one of the most dedicated young federal agents in her division. Her colleagues knew her for precision, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to the law. Every challenge she faced was approached with calculated focus, and every mission was executed with care. This wasn't just a career for Tasha, it was a calling. The lessons of her past, combined with her skill and determination, had prepared her for moments exactly like this one, where courage and composure would collide with bias and misunderstanding. Tasha's mission that evening was high stakes and meticulously planned. Her target, a police chief under federal investigation for corruption, bribery, and abuse of power. The stakes were enormous. Any mistake could allow him to evade justice and potentially compromise the investigation. Her team had coordinated every detail: no uniforms, no flashy tactics, just a subtle civilian approach designed to maintain discretion while ensuring authority. Timing was critical. The restaurant had been chosen carefully. It was a place the chief frequented weekly, predictable, yet crowded enough to complicate any abrupt actions. Tasha had rehearsed the operation mentally countless times, preparing for potential interruptions, distractions, and unforeseen variables. The tension in the room was more than just the officer confronting her. It was the pressure of an entire mission resting on her shoulders. Every second, every step, and every choice mattered. At exactly 6:57 p.m., Tasha entered the restaurant. Each step was measured, her eyes scanning the space as she moved toward the back section where her target sat. Diners were unaware of the federal operation underway. They saw only a well-dressed woman walking with purpose. The off-duty officer, however, noticed immediately. His brow furrowed and his body stiffened. He rose from his seat, placing himself directly between Tasha and the area she needed to reach. The atmosphere thickened with unspoken tension. Eyes met across the room. The officer's suspicion clashed with Tasha's unshakable poise. Phones appeared, whispers spread, and a few patrons instinctively moved slightly away, sensing the impending conflict. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test patience, courage, and the resolve of everyone present. "You don't belong here," the officer said, his voice louder now, sharp with suspicion. "What's your business in this restaurant? You're a threat." Tasha Monroe didn't flinch. Her posture remained calm, her tone steady. "I have official business inside," she replied, voice even, confident, and unshakable. The officer's eyes narrowed, his assumptions firm, but he couldn't see the truth behind her composed exterior. Around them, diners whispered nervously, some exchanging glances, others filming the interaction on their phones. The tension thickened with every passing second. All eyes were on Tasha, waiting to see how she would respond to the confrontation. Would she step aside, intimidated by prejudice, or would she continue with her mission despite the officer's accusation? In that charged silence, the room seemed to hold its breath, sensing that something far bigger than a simple misunderstanding was about to unfold. Tasha slowly opened her black case, deliberately revealing the glint of her federal badge. The officer froze, his mouth slightly open, eyes widening in disbelief. A hush fell over the restaurant as the diners realized that this was no ordinary patron. Tasha carefully unfolded the arrest warrant, holding it visibly for everyone to see. The room seemed to tilt on a new axis. The real threat in the room was now unmistakable, but it wasn't her. All the murmurs grew louder as the officer struggled to process what he was seeing. Tasha's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the tension in the officer's posture. Phones clicked and cameras rolled as the diners captured the moment, knowing they were witnessing something extraordinary. In that instant, authority and justice revealed themselves quietly yet unmistakably. The mission had shifted from covert precision to a live, public confrontation, one that would leave everyone in the room stunned. Without hesitation, Tasha walked past the officer and approached the police chief seated at the back of the restaurant. Every step was deliberate, measured, and unyielding. She placed the arrest warrant carefully beside his untouched plate of food. "You're under arrest," she announced, voice firm and clear. A collective gasp swept through the diners, some frozen in shock, others frantically recording on their phones. The police chief's confident smirk disappeared instantly, replaced with pale surprise. He leaned back in his chair, eyes darting toward the officer who had previously challenged Tasha, his ally, now paralyzed with shame. The weight of the moment hung heavily over the table. Not a single bite of food was taken, the suspense tangible in the air. Diners watched silently, realizing that the real power in the room wasn't a badge on a uniform, it was the calm, precise execution of justice. Tasha remained unflinching, completing her task without drama, allowing the authority of the law to speak louder than any accusation. At Tasha's signal, her team entered discreetly through the kitchen and rear exits, moving efficiently and without fanfare. Handcuffs clicked securely onto the police chief's wrists, formalizing the arrest. The mission had been executed flawlessly. Despite the unexpected confrontation, diners continued to react, some in shock, some quietly applauding the young federal agent who had maintained poise under intense pressure. The officer who had labeled her a threat now stepped aside, humbled and silent. Cameras continued to capture the scene, immortalizing the moment. Tasha's calm authority contrasted sharply with the chaos her presence had caused, proving that careful preparation, courage, and determination could overcome assumptions, bias, and public scrutiny all at once. The operation was complete, leaving a lasting impression on everyone present. The off-duty officer finally lowered his gaze, the weight of his assumptions pressing heavily on him. He realized, too late, that his snap judgment and bias had almost obstructed a critical federal operation. Shame, humiliation, and silent regret filled him as he watched Tasha continue her work unaffected. She didn't gloat. She didn't respond with anger. She simply remained composed, professional, and focused on the mission at hand. The contrast between his behavior and her poise was stark. Diners whispered among themselves, some reflecting on the implications of assumptions based on skin color. In that tense silence, it became clear, Tasha was not the threat. The officer's bias was. Every action she took reaffirmed her authority, her competence, and the justice she represented, while those who doubted her faced the consequences of their own prejudiced judgments. Within minutes, videos of the incident began circulating online. Diners uploaded footage, and social media lit up with outrage, amazement, and discussions about racial bias and law enforcement accountability. Headlines quickly emerged, not just about the police chief's arrest, but about the young black federal agent who had stood unwavering in the face of unjust assumptions. Viewers across the country debated, shared, and praised Tasha's composure, contrasting it with the officer's public humiliation. The story spread rapidly, sparking conversations about perception, bias, and courage. People everywhere were watching, captivated by her calm yet firm execution of justice. The footage became a powerful lesson, showing how dedication, professionalism, and integrity could shine through even in the most tense and unexpected circumstances. Tasha's actions inspired viewers and left an indelible impression nationwide. This incident became more than just a local story. It highlighted the dangers of assumptions based on skin color and appearance. Justice requires courage, and silence is not always safety. Tasha's unwavering focus in the face of bias demonstrated that authority and righteousness could prevail without aggression or intimidation. She returned to her duties the next day, continuing her mission to uphold the law, showing that one decisive action could ripple far beyond a single restaurant. The story leaves viewers reflecting how many individuals like Tasha are mistaken for threats simply because of how they look. How often is courage misjudged and justice delayed due to prejudice? It is a reminder that vigilance, preparation, and integrity can overcome bias, and that the true threat is never the person pursuing justice, it is the assumptions we allow to go unchallenged. So, which city or country are you watching from? Share your location in the comments and join the conversation. Remember to subscribe for more stories that reveal courage, justice, and the moments when the unexpected hero stands tall. Tasha Monroe's story shows that justice can appear where least expected, and that assumptions can be challenged with poise, preparation, and determination. Every viewer who watches this story is reminded to look beyond appearances and see the truth of a person's actions. Sometimes, the quietest presence holds the greatest power.